Is that a bunch of Shumagora stuff in the background I see there?
Yeah. That's a collection of stuff that like fans have given me. Like some people mailed me some stuff. So a lot of people make me stuff. Like I have like a huge clay model and like a painting, a lot of drawings, a lot of arts and crafts and stuff like that. So yeah, in the back you can kind of see I have like a glass case. The top part is all a bunch of my Shima stuff. I have like
Yeah.
crazy things like custom hats and stuff, and then the bottom part is like trophies and medals and stuff that I have. So yeah.
Oh, you should have wore one of the custom hats for this interview. Uh,
Unfortunately, like a designer hat like that, it actually doesn't fit my head, but it looks really nice though.
that's too bad. So, of course, you have an event coming up, Undefeated in Arizona, right? February 4th, 5th?
Yep.
You took third at Evo last year.
Hmm.
At that point, did you feel like that was the last time you might be playing Marvel at Evo?
I mean, I can't lie. I felt like a lot of us thought that that might be the last year. After Evo 2016, no news of Marvel in sight. Street Fighter 5 getting more and more push from Capcom. A lot of us thought that, you know what, maybe this is our last hurrah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd absolutely, walking across like top eight stage, I was very happy because you know what, if it was the last time, I was happy to be part of that final experience. So yeah, I definitely thought that at some point, to be honest.
So, talking about Evo 2017,
Hmm.
there's a possibility Marvel gets like another lease on life. Maybe one more year. I don't know if I'd say it's likely at this point because we still have what, another week to go, I think, on the vote.
February 6th, yeah. I think
Okay.
it's 6th or 7th or something like next week sometime.
Right. Right. And
Got a
again,
lot.
for those that don't know, you can vote for one of 9 games to get that final game into Evo. Which, of course, if that game makes it, that's the 8 a.m. Game on Finals Day. I don't know how if Marvel gets it. I don't know how you guys are going to wake up because FGC is not known for getting up early.
I mean, it's funny. Marvel had like 10 a.m. pool, or it was like
It's
10
yeah, it's 10 a.m. last
10
year.
a.m. finals last year. I actually
Yeah.
went to sleep at like 6 a.m. So I'd probably just anyway. Yeah, I was up all night. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Right. Do you feel like it's fair to put these games up for vote, or should Marvel have just been added into the lineup?
I'm just beyond shocked, to be honest, when they didn't announce Marvel. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't want to say it's fair that Marvel should be in there because I think every game deserves a chance to be at Evo. But I mean, like in terms of Evo, like the storyline was there. Marvel on the brink of like potentially, like we said, being the last Evo. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, Marvel, the company, does a complete just backflip and says that they're going to put a lot of money into it. Marvel Infinite, Marvel 3 HD, like
Yeah.
the scene just got this huge resurgence, of life, and like we're all trying to scramble to see how we can prepare for it. And then they just cut the cord like that, no Marvel at Evo for the first time, like no versus game at Evo in however many years, at least like 10
Yeah.
years or something
Yeah.
ridiculous like that. They cut the legacy, they cut the life, it's like it felt it didn't sit too well with me, and I talked to a lot of people about it, and we didn't feel really good about it, we didn't, and then beyond that, like so the issue, like I said, I didn't feel good about Marvel not being an Evo, was
Right.
then you now have to pit. I mean, regardless of however you ship it, Make a Wish Foundation is a great cause. I
Yep.
like that all the scenes are donating for it, but at the end of the day, it's still, uh, us versus them. Only
Mhm.
one of us can make it, and it hurts because a lot of times, we have to keep reminding people. Like I know I've been telling a lot of people, it's not us versus them. It's just us,
Right.
banding together. And if we win, cool. Like don't. We got to keep people in check about, saying rude comments or, it's just like, you see people attacking other scenes. So, yeah, Make a Wish Foundation is a great cause, but if the last time they did this was any evidence of Melee versus Skullgirls, it causes a lot of drama, and a lot of times it doesn't bring the scenes it brings the scenes of each game together,
Right.
but it also pits the other scenes apart. So it doesn't necessarily accomplish like the coming together thing that I
Mhm.
think everyone feels is going to come from Make a Wish Foundation. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about like this is a fighting game community, and obviously there have been differences. There are communities have been divided for a lot of years. It's not just this isn't anything new. This isn't just something that Evo created by putting up this
Hmm.
vote. Obviously, um, one of the things that I find interesting though is it's just they put this out there with this idea of like if you want your game in, all you have to do is essentially pay the money to get it in. Which of course this is for charity, so
Hmm.
I don't want it to sound like that heavy handed, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's the community that can also campaign the best, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Marvel's a large community on top of the fact that you guys are pretty hype out there and you do pretty well at campaigning. So it
Yeah.
seems like this is probably a situation where it's going to come down to maybe Marvel and Pokken. Should this decision have been given to the community or knowing that Marvel's going to campaign hard to get this game in, should have been left
Hmm.
up to the community?
No matter what, if Mar, it's hard. I'm completely biased. I'm totally gonna give you like the most ridiculous
Yep,
thing. If
go
Marvel
for
was
it.
at evil, then I probably would be like, yeah, it's for a good cause. We should do it, guys.
Yeah,
Now that Marvel's not at evil, I'm like, oh my God, like I just want to, get
yeah.
my game in there. I'm totally biased. Like whatever, like I'm okay with it because it gives Marvel a chance to be at evil now that it's not in the lineup, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm completely opinionated. Marvel is my whole like, gaming career for me. It's the game I love. It's brought me a lot of memories and joys.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if it would have been in the lineup, I maybe would have been like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. But now that it's not in the lineup, I'm like, this is our one chance. So absolutely, so
Right.
comes
That's
to
all right.
that.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? The two games that I love are in, so I don't even have to worry about it, right? I
Awesome.
did, full disclosure though, I did donate. I'm not gonna lie, I donated Killer Instinct just because I thought, it's for charity, right?
I mean,
It's for
for
charity.
charity, you can maybe match that to the Marvel fund,
You know
putting
what?
it
I
out.
probably could, but you guys seem like you're doing all right. No, so let's move on real quick to
Hmm.
Undefeated, this upcoming
Sure.
event.
Yeah.
Actually, why don't you break down for me real quick? I think I heard it. Is this how many years you been doing Undefeated?
3 years, 3 years now,
Okay,
4 years, three. Yeah, no, three
so
years sounds right. It's blurry because I didn't always used to do it only once a year, so I did
okay,
multiple in like the first year. So,
right, okay. So I know there's a heavy Marvel focus, especially this year. Why
hmm,
don't you just real quick break down what it is that makes Undefeated unique compared to some other tournaments?
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, undefeated. It started off with a bunch of scenes coming together, like New Mexico, Vegas, California. Like everyone wanted to come for a tournament, like a 1 day event. So I
Mm-hmm.
hosted that, and it was this big success. And then I hosted another one, and before you knew it, you just had this event that I have purposely built around gathering communities. Like I've always been a huge fan of getting as many regions as possible, especially like the smaller ones that people may not know of, like New Mexico, Colorado, Vegas, a lot of like tri-state East Coast, a lot of scenes that don't get a lot of publicity. I love bringing them out and then having them play the big dogs, East Coast New York,
Mm-hmm.
Southern California. So it's mainly a Marvel focused event because that's my main game and that's what I like to
Right.
see. I'm a tournament organizer. Why wouldn't I run the games that I like best, right? So I gathered, I'm a top player as well. I have a lot of connections, thankfully other top players have responded well. So it's like, hey, you know what? Like clockwork. Hey, do you mind coming out, bring Cloud with you, just get a few big names out there. And they're always like, dude, of course. So it's mainly a Marvel focused event because that's what I enjoy. But the key of Undefeated has always been a community event was focused around gathering other scenes together. We do throw a few games in there, like Street
Right.
Fighter, KOF, anime. And that's just because I enjoy those games and I enjoy the people from my local scene who enjoy, you know, who like putting those on. So I mean, they're like, "Hey, can I help you run like a side KOF?" I'm like, absolutely. So, yeah, undefeated. It's going on. It's a 2017 year. We're doing it bigger than ever. We've got Yipes hosting Curly Mustache Battle Royale from, we've got Midwest, Seattle, Texas,
Mhm.
East Coast, California, Arizona, it's going to be big. And like they said, I've only ever wanted one thing, and that's just to bring the scenes together. So events, it's pretty grassroots, but it's always been a huge blast for me to put on.
Exhibitions for Undefeated, and in Marvel? I know you've got a couple lined up. I think I saw one that was a first to 15. What do you have for as far as exhibitions go?
Okay, so every year we've always done a community voted exhibition,
Hmm.
where I just get a bunch of top player names that are coming, and hey, you know what? You guys want to do an exhibition? Yeah. The community votes on it. Vote for your two favorite people that you want to see pit against each other. Whatever two players have the most votes, they do. They duke it out. Last year we had first 15 Clockwork versus Dual Kevin. That they both won the community vote. This year we're gonna release it on Wednesday, but what
Okay.
we're gonna do to support the Evo Fund Drive is that people are gonna bet with donations. So when you donate, you write the two players, and then I'll manually sift through all of them and then tally them up. So that's gonna be the first one, and then the second one is Ryan LV versus Cloud 805. That's just a match I think a lot of people have been wanting to see. Ryan LV has been unstoppable, but Cloud 805 has kind of had his number, and he's kind of like an exhibition monster. So we're gonna see what happens when they come together. I honestly still think, even though with Cloud's record, I still think Ryan LV might take it. It's a little difficult, but I want to see it. I think everyone wants to see it. I've had good feedback on that one.
So it sounds like Undefeated is pretty much just a donate to the Marvel Evo fund at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my event. I want Marvel
I
Evo.
guess.
I am working my butt off on this last week to do as much as I can to make Undefeated like just a giant 48-hour donation fund for
Yeah, I
Evo.
was gonna say. I guess it's fortunate that that the timing was right for that for all of
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I actually want to talk to you a little bit about some Marvel Infinite. One
Sure.
thing that I'm kind of interested in, we've seen this a lot with other games and other scenes. I mean, you can look at the Evo, the player vote right now. Injustice 2 got revealed for Evo, and MKX is all but abandoned.
Hmm.
It's still sitting at like the same $135 it was sitting at
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
like
know, five
yeah.
days ago. But I'm curious, once Marvel Infinite drops, do you kind of expect the same thing to happen with the Marvel 3 community? Will it kind of persist in some way like Marvel 2 has?
I think the community in general will try to play Marvel 3 for a little bit longer. But if Marvel Infinite is, as good a game as we all hope, which I think it is going to be, I have really strong faith in Marvel games. Kind of working with Capcom, and I hope that each company double checks each other to produce a
Yeah.
good game. Yeah, so I mean, if Marvel Infinite's good, then I mean, I fully want to say that we'll probably drop Marvel 3, but not entirely. Like I feel like
Right.
no matter what, if anybody puts a Marvel 3 setup out there, I'm gonna play it. So
Well, it's one of those things where when I see an event, especially an East Coast event, I don't know what it is about the East Coast events, but when they have like a Marvel 2 exhibition, it's the greatest thing ever.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm always tuning into that. I'm curious if a couple more questions for you. If Marvel Infinite, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has a pro circuit, which we don't know if it's going to be part of Capcom Pro Tour. We don't
Yeah.
know if it's going to be something separate. I would imagine it's going to be tied to something. But if it was on some kind of pro circuit, how do you think it would sort of either complement or contrast with Street Fighter Five?
I'm gonna be again super biased and totally honest. I think Marvel Infinite has the potential to completely be bigger than the pro circuit.
Mm,
I think Street Fighter Five is excellent, and I like what the pro circuit and Capcom are doing.
mm-hmm.
But if Marvel is on board, and ESPN, Disney, I feel like we could do something much, much bigger. So I mean, I don't necessarily think like it has to contrast. I think it'll just be its own thing on the side. Like I think it'll just be on its own circuit is my theory and kind of like what I'm hoping for.
Do you
I
think
think they'll
it
both
could challenge
coexist.
Street Fighter Five, especially with all the issues surrounding Street Fighter Five?
I don't think it needs to challenge it, and if it did, I think Marvel Infinite would be a lot bigger. To be honest, I think it
Yeah,
will be a lot bigger. I'm seriously expecting, hoping, wishing, whatever you want to put.
yeah.
Marvel Infinite will be one of the biggest fighting game, things to happen in a long time, esports wise, competition wise, quality of gameplay wise. I'm putting a lot of eggs in that basket, and I have a lot of confidence in, like I said, Marvel Games and Capcom working together to make it happen. So, hmm
Assuming Marvel gets in to Evo,
hmm
Marvel 3, that is, assuming it gets
yeah.
in, what do you think is the best possible outcome to send it out on a high note? And if Angelic winning isn't number one,
I was about to say, can I just say myself winning?
Talking?
Like, if I won, I would be ecstatic. I have 2 top 3 placements, and as both being third place, I want to get second or no, I want to get first, and then if I get second, I'll live with it. If I get third again, I'd be disappointed, but at least I'm in the money. But
yeah,
no, I mean the best. Like, to be honest with you, last year's top 64 of no top 32 of Marvel's Capcom 3. That top 32 was probably the greatest Marvel I've ever seen played for Marvel 3. I've rewatched every video multiple times. Just the amount of like passion, technology, like character strategy, like optimization, like very rarely can you see so many matches back to back where like nobody drops anything, everyone's just on the edge of their seat and everyone's playing so phenomenal. Like, it was just absolute amazing gameplay. And it's, I mean, if we repeat that, and I feel like we would, like, I feel like there's so much passion going into the Evo Fund that if Marvel is in this year, the absolute send off will be whatever happens, because without a doubt, everyone's going to be practicing and everyone's going to want to win the last year of Marvel 3, because Infinite will probably be there next year. So
right.
There's no like fantasy storyline that I want to be played out. I really just feel like with so much passion that's culminating from the Evo Fund and, Marvel Infinite, I feel like whatever does happen will probably be the best thing to happen, if that makes sense.
Repeat champion or not? New champion in Marvel 3 at Evo this year.
New champ. Absolutely.
Champion, never. Sure. So we're not going to have a repeat champ in that series ever.
Nope.
All right. You heard it here.
A lot of me on that. No repeat champion.
All right, no repeat champ. So new champ at Evo 2017 in Marvel. Undefeated is February 4th, 5th. If you're having to catch this afterwards, I'm sure you'll have videos up, of course, videos of Seattle and Pacific Northwest taking the Battle Royale. Angelic, thank you for thank you for jumping on and talking with me and talking about Marvel, man.
Absolutely, dude.